Yes, yes.
Okay. Today is quite exceptional. Usually, we never talk about diseases. As I told many times, we are in a health business, not in a disease business. So, what I'm doing today is really exceptional. I'm going to talk about something that we all have. I think I have to share my screen because this, yes. Okay. Yes. So I'm going to talk about a worldwide tragedy, the coronavirus or COVID-19. I think it's our duty as a doctor from the Scientific Advisory Board to share with you our knowledge and our information, avoiding fake news and myths. So let's talk about this on a very simple way. You know, First, we need to understand why this virus is so dangerous. In order to do like that, let's have some creativity. Let's suppose that you have learned that there is a serial killer who walks around your town and indiscriminately strike women, children, the elderly, the rich, and the poor. So what are you going to do? All the police are looking for him in vain, never track him. So the only solution will be to stay at home, lock up and locked. Now, suppose that there is 100 serial killers in your town or country, or an army of serial killers scattered around the world and killing indiscriminately. It will be panic in the world. In fact, this is COVID 19, and it is indeed the panic and the desolation that it causes. And that's what I want to emphasize with you the seriousness of the situation. Certain people or certain forensic science have analyzed his behavior well. And what we find first is that it is neither a cell, not even a bacteria. It is a simple molecule made of RNA, which is like DNA, surrounded by a layer of fat with spikes to adhere to the membranes of human cells. So, how can this little dirt of nothing at all do so much damages? It is very simple. This is how it goes. The virus has probably and accidentally imported from China by a traveler who transmitted on arrival to another person, either by breathing, coughing, or by physical contact. Then the infected person let the virus into their respiratory tract, and this is where the demoniac work of the serial killer begin. The spike, which is around the DNA, the spike will attach to a lung cells. Their sensor will foil the safety of the membrane, and the virus will enter in the cells. So once enter in the cells, he will release the content into the host cell cytoplasm, and then he will use, and that is the biggest things, he will use the material of the cells to form new viruses which leave the host cells. And then you have a lot of virus which are manufacturing at the depends of the cells, which just leave and go to contaminate others. So when the virus has depleted the cell stock, dozens of new viruses, as you can see here, will be formed and will leave the lung cells to infect others, and so on and so on. So what happened to the cells which have received the virus? The poor cells, the abandoned cells, is now in such state that it has nothing left but suicide. But by doing this, it will leave debris that must be cleared, and those debris are very, very aggressive for the neighboring cells. You see? So why people die from this virus? Why? You see, whenever the virus tries to enter in a cell, our immune system reacts violently, trying the impossible to stop it. Sometimes it happens, most of the time. Sometimes not. But in all cases, this battle leads to a more or less significant inflammatory reaction, which results in the release of very aggressive substances. We call them cytokines. You know, when the virus gets into the cells by hundreds and hundreds in the lungs, the immune system will be overwhelmed, and it will trigger what we call a cytokine storm, in which it is the inflammation tsunami which will kill the patient. That's why we are dying, because the inflammation is killing the patient. This is why we have also what we call acute respiratory distress syndrome. This is why we transfer people to intensive care units. And this is essential because the patient cannot longer breathe. It must be done in his place, and we will use suitable artificial ventilators. But for this, we must enter a tube in the trachea, and this is not supported by the patient unless you fall asleep. This is called artificial coma. And now you understand how difficult it is to treat one single patient, because even if he recovers from that, it will take him weeks and weeks to come back to normal. But there is some good news, you know. First of all, this virus is very fragile. It is only protected by a thin layer of fat, which can easily be destroyed with soap and foaming water. You see, as you can see here, the fat layer is very easily broken by any hydrophobic bond or any soap, which will, once they broke down the fat layer, there is no other way than to suicide. The DNA inside or the RNA inside cannot anymore survive. You see? Now, this is very important. Social distancing at this time of the pandemic is the only way to reduce what we call the viral capacity. As you can see here, you know, if we keep social distancing, the virus number, the quantity of virus will slowly decrease. And as you can see here, you know, if you have infected people, it will slowly decrease as much as if you have a lot of less exposure. You can see here. So it is essential. We know, and this is a fact, nobody can challenge this fact, that social distancing for the moment, without treatment and without vaccine, social distancing is the best. Means there is many things, and this is a very creative way to avoid touching, hugs, and high fives and hugs. You see, This is just one example, but a lot, thousands of people have been so creative to find an alternative way not to touch each other. So, half of these people do not notice it because our defense system has destroyed the virus in the mucous membrane long before it enters the skin. And this is good news for the person, but bad news for those around them because they can be infected even by not knowing it. If you have one of the symptoms, please call immediately your doctor. The most important will be the fever, dry cough, fatigue. If you have breathing difficulty, this is an alarming sign that require immediate management in an intensive care because the lungs are starting to be overwhelmed. It is obvious today that masks are protecting you at least to send your virus to somebody else. And probably when the deconfinement will arrive one day, we will have to wear a mask for a long, long time. Unfortunately, we don't have special mask for everybody. So, in all the countries, people start to manufacture their own mask, which is okay, which have only one goal, is to avoid your mouth to send the virus to somebody else. Now, what we wait is vaccination. The day that we will have vaccination, the problem will be resolved. We also will have certain treatments and they will appear soon. The point with the treatment, they will reduce the symptom. They will make the fact that if you take this treatment at good time, you will not necessitate to go to the intensive care unit. Your virus will become like a small flu. And this is coming probably. We have a very good maybe hope, and again, I don't want to give hope to everybody with this combination of hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. Hydroxychloroquine is an anti-malarial drug, and azithromycin is an antibiotic which may have also antiviral property. Combination have been done the first time by the Chinese and then copied immediately by a very famous professor in Marseille, Professor Raoult, which, as you can see, look, it's our national Buffalo Bill. So, having said that, let me introduce you the new hand sanitizer called Aloe Cleanse. Now, this product, of course, means it will be linked to what happened today, which it will be very practical. Because you cannot have all the time when you walk, when you go to your car, or when you go to the grocery store, you don't have soap, you don't have water, and that will be perfect first things to do to clean your hands, to clean whatever is necessary, and when you finish, also to clean the things that you have touched. And this is very important. Why it is good, this one? Because it's a combination of 70% ethyl alcohol and aloe vera. Now, we know for sure that above 65% alcohol, the virus can be killed with alcohol alone. And this is a fact, scientific fact. This is why putting vodka, for instance, doesn't work, because vodka is only 45%. And this is why it's important to have more than 65. That's why we put 70% of alcohol. Also, we integrate aloe vera. Now, aloe vera is very known as a topical gel, as a topical product. First, it is anti-inflammatory. And this is very, very important. The second thing, it has been proven to kill some bacteria and viruses. It have been proven. So individual packets are perfect to go on the go sanitization. This is what I wanted to tell you in my 10 minutes speak. Thank you very much. I just want to finish by one slide, which is very important. We are one team, one family, one genus, which means that stay home, stop the spread, and save life. Thank you very much.